nonprofit, nonpartisan investigative journalism group has compiled a list of the instances the Bush administration made false statements leading up to the war. The magic number? 935.
Leaves no doubt that the Iraqi regime continues to possess and conceal some of the most lethal weapons ever devised.
Terrorism is a tactic. You can't have a war against a tactic. It's deliberately vague and non-definable in order to justify and permit perpetual war anywhere and under any circumstances. Don't forget, the Iraqis and Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with any terrorist attack against us, including that on 9/11.
That I can think of who has contended that the Iraqis had nuclear weapons.
And we believe he has, in fact, reconstituted nuclear weapons.
Saddam Hussein recently sought significant quantities of uranium.
The nonprofit Center for Public Integrity tallied all the false statements made by 8 top members of the administration in the 2 years after September 11th, including, obviously, the run-up to the Iraq War. The calumniator-in-chief, with not just those 16 false words in his State of the Union, but 260 false statements to the Union as he pushed to take the focus off al-Qaeda and have American blood spilled in the war of his choice.
One of the hardest parts of my job is to connect Iraq to the war on terror.
The Soviet Union has been busy. They've been busy in terms of their level of effort. They've been busy in terms of the actual weapons that they've been producing. They've been busy in terms of expanding production rates. They've been busy in terms of expanding their institutional capability to produce additional weapons at additional rates.
Took the incubators and left the children to die on the cold floor.
The U.S. public is outraged. The result? Support for land war zooms. It's a turning point. Desert Storm is launched. 135,000 Iraqis are killed. An estimated 1 million Iraqis, many of them children and old people, then die as a result of 10 years of sanctions. One small problem. There never were any incubator baby deaths, not one. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation's investigative flagship program, The Fifth Estate, reveals the girl to be the Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter, given her lines and coached in acting by the giant American PR firm Hill and Knowlton.
Saddam Hussein, Saddam Hussein,
Saddam Hussein,
Saddam Hussein,
Saddam Hussein,
Saddam, Saddam, Saddam,
Saddam,
Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam, Saddam,
Saddam,
Saddam,
Saddam Hussein.
For all the misinformation given the American people to justify our invasion, such as our need for national security, enforcing UN resolutions, removing a dictator, establishing a democracy, protecting our oil, the argument has been reduced to this: if we leave now, Iraq will be left in a mess, implying the implausible, that if we stay, it won't be a mess. Since it could go badly when we leave, that blame must be placed on those who took us there, not on those of us who now insist that Americans no longer need be killed or maimed, and that Americans no longer need to kill.
All the evidence was collected in a single dossier, which Colin Powell presented to the United Nations. These pictures show Powell being handed the intelligence dossier on Iraq by the CIA's leading Middle Eastern expert. "This is absolutely everything we have on Saddam," says the official. Powell takes this as a joke and laughs uproariously. He attempts to hand the dossier back, but is told, no, really, that's it.
Is the existence of mobile production facilities used to make biological agents. Let me take you inside that intelligence file and share with you what we know from eyewitness accounts. We have first-hand descriptions of biological weapons factories on wheels and on rails. The trucks and train cars are easily moved and are designed to evade detection by inspectors.
What we have here is a donkey cart. However,
they would call it Iraq, 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 Iraq.
We already know the State of the Union. It's a lie. The President and the Vice President lied, and 4,000 of our soldiers died.
All we're trying to do is make it home alive.
He said what was needed was to win the hearts and minds of the people of Iraq.
The President and the Vice President lied, and 1 million innocent Iraqis died.
And what we've done? We've lost the hearts and minds. People who were pro-American, pro-Western, have become anti-American, anti-Western.
We shouldn't be involved in nation building. We shouldn't be policing the world. We should have a more humble foreign policy. And that's been our tradition. The real reason they come here, the word is occupation.
No. Why not?
Because if we'd gone to Baghdad, we would have been all alone. There wouldn't have been anybody else with us. It would have been a U.S. occupation of Iraq.
This is one of the reasons they came here to attack us. Bases over there, the sense of occupation, our persistence and interference in that land, as well as the bombing of Iraq that had been going on all through the 90s.
You cannot meet someone in Iraq who has not lost a family member. Could you imagine what we had done in America if in 9/11 everybody in America lost a family member?
And if for any reason we continue to believe this naively, that they come here and they want to attack us because we're rich and free, we can't take care of this problem.
But what they don't realize is the innocent people we killed, it was their brother, it was their uncle that was trying to kill us, because we already killed his 3 children.
If the truth is off the table, this house will be living a lie.
And they got 14-year-old boys building bombs to kill these American soldiers because we've killed their family.
We're making little progress, and it just seems like this war in Iraq is endless, and they're scared to death it's going to spread into Iran.
But there really is no end in sight.
That could pay for 1,700 more Border Patrol agents, or provide health care to an extra 45,000 military veterans. Or the funds from just one day in Iraq would give 270,000 more kids coverage under the state children's health insurance program.
At the same time, they're realizing that we're running out of money.
The entire war in Iraq has been paid for with borrowed money. We're borrowing money from China,
and Japan,
India,
and Saudi Arabia,
Mexico, to finance this war.
And anytime they want to bring us to our knees, they can.
A whole variety of costs that go well beyond the budgetary cost. For the U.S., there's a cost. We will be paying the cost for the next 40 years.
A war that will cost us $2 trillion, while people here in the States are losing their jobs, their health care, their homes, their dignity.
If you agree with Senator McCain's statement that the United States might need to have U.S. troops in Iraq for as long as even 100 years.
I don't even think they should have gone.
They are no longer innocent if they're there at the time of the crime. Sounds like American rules. If your buddy commits a crime, you're there, you can get caught up on charges on it. But these aren't charges. These are death. We're killing people because they're there when someone else attacked us.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
You guys know the lies, but I bled for these lies. I watched my brothers die for these lies.
Nope, no weapons over there.
I lost many of my friends and brothers, and I lost part of me for the stuff I did in Iraq.
Maybe under here.
The Bible says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free."
The various presidents had to deal with the Soviets. They had 50,000 nuclear warheads, and they had tremendous power, and they brought them 90 miles off our shore.
Terrible weapons.
There's no imminent threat, and he hasn't committed an act of aggression. I would think that if we really wanted to, we could handle him the same way we handled the Soviets.
Let us once again be the land of the free by beginning the process which the founders understood will set us free and keep us free, impeachment.
So we're done in Baghdad. We killed enough people.
This is fantasy land. We're talking about ending the war. My God, we're just starting a war right today. There was a vote in the Senate today to let George Bush go to war with Iran.
I wouldn't do that much about it. I wouldn't bomb them. I mean, they're a third-rate nation. They're not going to attack us. They're incapable of even attacking their neighbors. They're incapable of, and they have no history of doing this. So to stir up this hatred that is so unnecessary and needless just doesn't make any sense.
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it. You're not going to get another shot at this, because what's happened, if this war ensues, we invade, and they're looking for an excuse to do it. And Obama was not even there to vote.
Senator Clinton, I want to give you a chance to respond.
We're just looking for an excuse. This is war propaganda.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomberan. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Anyway.
To get the American people behind the bombing of Iran, just like the war propaganda got us all worked up and thought we had to go get Saddam Hussein, which was absolutely unnecessary.
Remember what Ron Paul said when you guys were laughing at him. If you got rid of the income tax, you'll have the same amount of public revenue coming in that we had 10 years ago.
I'm not planning on cutting back to a 1% tax rate.
You call Cato and check it out.
Okay,
Don't
Mark.
laugh, Mitt. You're laughing at Ron Paul, too, and you know he's right.
Sure, I'm laughing at Ron Paul. I got to tell you, anybody who says we got to get rid of the CIA.
So, Mitt, talk to you later.
Thanks.
Right there, he just lost my vote, Dan. I got 4,000 dead soldiers. I got $1 trillion blown on that debacle, and he's laughing about it. Of a guy who speaks the truth, the man who told you the truth more than any other in those debates, who wasn't afraid, and they laughed at him. You know, it drives me nuts. Vote for Barack Obama, Hillary, Mitt Romney, John McCain. They're all on the same page, man. Every damned one of them.
It's all about freedom, prosperity, and peace.
Vote for Ron Paul.